Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। समस्त वैष्णववृंद की जय, रामाचार्य दास ठाकुर जी की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। Good morning, dear devotees. This is Shivani from Ashram, Virginia. Please forgive me for stopping your beautiful chanting. I welcome you all to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call for this mid-morning session. Let us move to the next part of the session. Today's topic is going to be on Madhurya Kadambini, session 11, which will be given by Her Grace, Kirtida Sundari Mataji. May I know who all have joined this morning?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna Neetu Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Varanga ki jai. Thank you so much Mataji for joining and giving a beautiful association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I'm going to start recording because Mataji will go a little long today. She wanted to start as early as possible. So I'll start the recording, you can reach it.
Okay, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat pranams to you and all assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Suma from Portland, Oregon.
Hare Krishna Suma Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you Mataji for joining me and giving a beautiful association this morning. Hare Krishna.
Then start with the quote, Mataji.
Okay. Hare Krishna devotees, I would like to start by sharing a quote by Srila Prabhupada ji. By prasadam distribution, you will do service to the Lord, and the public will be pleased upon you as well. Gradually increase the numbers of guests, and don't deny anyone. Continue in this way. Whatever is there, distribute equally. It may not be very sumptuous, but no one should be denied equal portion. Letter to Giriraj, April 12, 1972. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Good morning, dear devotees. I welcome you all to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have Her Grace, Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Mataji will be enlightening us on topic of Madhurya Kadambini, session 11. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances, Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Thank you for giving your valuable time and beautiful association this morning. Looking forward to hearing from you, Mataji. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Please take over the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear Shivani Mataji. Thank you so much for your very, very warm welcome. Thank you everyone for joining us, for your very, very kind association. So we'll move forward with our next session of Madhurya Kadambini and we'll start with the prayers. Om Ajnanaatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanasahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Panchatattvatakam Krishna Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhaktavtaram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे आनंद लीलामय विग्रहाय हेमावदिव्य छवि सुंदराय तस्मै महाप्रेम रस प्रदाय चैतन्य चंद्राय नमो नमस्ते चैतन्य चंद्राय नमो नमस्ते चैतन्य चंद्राय नमो नमस्ते गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालय कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य ईश्वरम्। ऋत्वप्रे नवभक्तिशस्य वितते ऋत्वप्रे नवभक्तिशस्य वितते सञ्जीवनी स्वगमा आरम्भे कामतापतु गहदमनी विश्वपगोलासिनी दूरन्मे मरुशाखिनोऽपि सरसि भावाय भूयात् प्रभो श्रीचैतन्य कृपा निरङ्कुशमहा Madhurya Kadambini. Anybody wants to recite? Yes, Vasundhara Mataji, please.
ऋत्वप्रेणवभक्तिशस्य वितते सञ्जीवनी स्वागमा रम्भे कामतपर्तुदाहदमनी विश्वापगोलासिनी दूरान्मे मरुशाकिनोऽपि सरसि भावाय भूयात् प्रभु श्रीचैतन्य कृपा निरङ्कुशमहा माधुर्य कादम्बिनी हरे कृष्ण
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Vasundhara Mataji. So we are in the third shower of nectar, third Vrishti, Tritiya Vrishti. Vrishti means shower of this Madhurya Kadambini, the cloud bank of nectar. So this third shower deals in elimination of all impediments of bhakti. So we have been discussing about the 4 types of anarthas, and then about the 4 types of anarthas. The third one, we are into apradhota anarthas, and in apradhota anarthas, we are in the section where we are describing namaprads, the 10 offenses to the holy name which are supposed to be avoided by the sadhaka. So these were the 10 offenses. So we have almost covered the 7 offenses, and now we are in the 8th offense. So we'll not recite in the interest of time. I know you all must be reciting it so that you all can memorize the Sanskrit version. And not only memorize, the thing is that when we read the Sanskrit, after knowing in detail, then just by reading the Sanskrit, we get to know what that verse is talking about. So we will skip this and we will talk about the 8th offense today. So we will try to finish this entire shower, this third shower. Let's see how far we can go. So what is the 8th offense? Dharma vrata tyaga hutadi sarva shubha kriya samyam api pramada So this is the 8th offense. What does it mean in English? To consider the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra to be the auspicious ritualistic mantras mentioned in the Vedas as fruitive activity. So this is what we recite in English. To consider the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mantra to be as one of the ritualistic auspicious activities which is offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, or which is karma kanda. Now, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that this is an aparad to consider the glories of the chanting. He's saying now, Dharma, varta means any kind of occupational. Dharma means any kind of occupational or religious performance or some pious deeds that we do. Vrata stands for the vows of penance and austerity, some vows we take. Okay, I'll do this. But we think, okay, if this is done, then at least it is same as chanting. Like suppose if I have to fast for certain days, and if I don't happen to fast, and then I can say, well, I'm chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra is equal. No, it's not equal. Tyag, renunciation of all the 4 regulative principles. Then hutadi means any kind of yajna or sacrificial. Then sarva shubha kriya means any kind of auspicious activities if we are doing. Samyam, if we are equating the effects of all those pious deeds, which is dharma, varta, tyaga, and huta, and sarva shubha, if we are equating the results of all these pious deeds, samyam, to be equal. Samya means to equate the results of all these to the glories of the holy name, or to the result of chanting the holy name. Then it is an aparad. Api pramadaha. Pramadaha means misunderstanding of reality. So that means we have yet not understood the reality of the result of chanting the holy name. The chanting of the holy name, the glories of the holy name is far more ahead than the results that we get in while performing these shubha kriya, these auspicious activities like dharma, vrata, tyaga, and hutadi. So we should be very, very careful that we should never ever equate. Okay, the holy name is actually Shabdavatar. It is the direct word incarnation of the Supreme Lord. So it is beyond all kind of material senses. Okay, so when somebody chants the holy name, he is considered to be the most fortunate. And if somebody is equating the glories of the holy name to be the level of materially auspicious activities, then that means they are differentiating, or they are diminishing rather, the glories of the holy name. That means they have not understood properly what the glories of the holy name. They are misunderstanding the reality. So therefore, never ever equate. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in this Surishti has not described in detail about the 8th offense, but he's just thinking, he just said this, that one should never ever equate the glories of the holy name to any kind of so-called auspicious activities that one can perform in this material existence. The glories of the holy name is far, far, far beyond the glories of any kind of ritualistic activities. So this is the 8th offense that he is talking about. Dharma vrata tyagi hutadi sarva shubha kriya samyam api pramadaha. To misunderstand this reality. What reality? That the glories of the holy name is equal to the glories of all these activities. One who performs this activity, one who has this kind of understanding is an offender. He is an offender and he is a namaparadi. So one should be very, very careful. Now, we will talk about the 9th offense. So what is the 9th offense? Ashraddhadhane vimukhya ashnavati yachopadesha shivanamaparadaha. So this is the 9th offense. Ashraddhadhane vimukhya api ashnavati cha upadeshaha Shiva nam aparadaha. The English, what we know is to instruct the faithless person about the glories of the holy name. To instruct faithless people. Faithless people means those who do not have faith in the glories of the holy name, and we keep on instructing, then that will be an offense. Now, someone can say, well, we all are discussing the glories of the holy name. So how do we know that are we committing this offense? So here, three things are to be taken into consideration. The first is that person is faithless, ashraddhadhane, okay? The very first consideration, whom we are talking to them, and if we are talking the glories of the holy name, the very first consideration, we have to see whether they have any faith or not. If they have faith in the Shastras, then yes, we are not committing this offense. But if they are ashraddhadhane, if they don't have faith, then it's an offense. We will look into it. Then vimukhe. Vimukhe means those who are disclined or reluctant to Krishna. Api shrinavati. Shrinavati means those who are unwilling to listen. Yascha upadeshaha. Even if we are instructing, after seeing this, that a person is faithless, he is reluctant, he is unwilling to listen. And in spite of that, we are cha upadesha, we are giving the instructions on the glories of the holy name. Then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says, Shivanam aparadaha. Now this has two meanings. So in Hari Bhakti Vilas, while giving the commentary, Sanatana Goswami describes that there are two meanings to this Shivanam aparadaha. One meaning of Shiva is auspicious, and another meaning of Shiva is Lord Shiva. So if we are giving instruction to someone who is faithless, who is reluctant, who is unwilling to listen, then that, if we are still instructing to that person, it will be Shiva Nama Aparad. I mean, it will be the Nama Aparad. It will be an aparad towards the auspicious holy name. One meaning of Shiva. It will be an offense towards the auspicious holy name. This is the meaning, one meaning, that means Shiva Nama Aparada. Now, Sanatana Goswami also says Shiva also means Lord Shiva. So he says that if somebody is instructing a person who is faithless, who is reluctant, who is unwilling to listen, then if we are instructing to that person, then we are also committing offense towards Lord Shiva. Now, why towards Lord Shiva? How can the offense towards Lord Shiva can be equated as Namaparad? Second offense. To consider to blaspheme what was the second offense? To consider the demigods like Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva to be equal to or independent to the name of Vishnu is a Namaparadi. Okay, so that means there is no difference between Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna. They are not independent, but at the same time, there is a little difference. So we have understood that second offense. So when Sanatana Goswami is saying that this Lord Shiva means here Lord Shiva, he means to say that these entire 10 aparadas also belong to, also impacts those who are Shivites, means those who are worshipper of Lord Shiva. Even for them, all these 10 offenses are applied. It's not only for those who are chanting Krishna's name, but even those who are chanting Lord Shiva names can also be implicated by these 10 offenses. So we have to be very careful. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given only one meaning in Madhurya Kadambini, and that is Shivanama Aparadha, means the auspicious holy name. The auspicious holy name. It will be an offense towards an auspicious holy name if someone instructs a faithless person, a reluctant person, or a person who is unwilling to hear the glories of the holy name. If we keep on instructing, then that will be an offense towards the auspicious holy name. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has described only one meaning. But because we are covering this offense, so from Hari Bhakti Vilas, and what Sanatana Goswami has given the commentary, The two meanings have been explained. Now, someone can say, well, we have been instructing, who is a faithful devotee? How do we know that a person is faithful? Then he says Shraddha, he should have Shraddha. Okay, Shraddhavan Jana hai Bhakti Adhikari. Yes, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we all know that those who have Shraddha, only they are Bhakti Adhikaris. And when we were talking about that first Adho Shraddha, at that time also we have discussed that this Shraddha is actually Shastriya Shraddha. Somebody should have a faith in the Shastras. See, it says that only Shraddhavan Jan hoye Bhakti Adhikari. Then there are differences. Uttama, Madhyama, Kanishta, Shraddhanusari. As per one's Shraddha, one can be discriminated as per Kanishta, Madhyama and Uttama. But the bottom line is that Shraddhavan Jan hai Bhakti Adhikari. Now this we have to understand. See, in theory, we know that all humans are potentially eligible for bhakti, isn't it or not? Everybody. Why? Because bhakti is self-manifested. It doesn't depend upon any criteria. The first vrishti, the first shower, what we discussed was this, that bhakti is self-manifested. So how can, when we say that Shraddhavan Jana hoye Bhakti Adhikari, that means to get bhakti, one must have Shraddha. So that means bhakti is not independent, bhakti is dependent, but no. In theory, all humans are potentially eligible for bhakti. But what here they are saying that in reality, actually people who have Shastra Shraddha are actually eligible for bhakti. Only those who have Shastra Shraddha. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita mentions Shraddhavan Jana hoye Bhakti Adhikari. In theory, everybody is eligible. Why? Because bhakti is self-manifested. It is supremely independent. It can come in anybody's heart. There is no criteria or eligibility needed. But in practical, if we see, then at least somebody should have Shastra Shraddha. Only then one can become Bhakti Adhikari. In this regard, His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu, he gave a very beautiful example. I'll repeat his example. What example he gave was that if somebody is above 18 years of age, then that individual is allowed to vote in the country. Okay? If somebody is above 18 years, that means that person is allowed to vote in the country. So that person is allowed, he is allowed to vote. Okay, so that means all the humans are eligible for bhakti. This is in theory. The theory, it is written. But if that person is above 18 and has yet not registered himself or herself, and if that person doesn't possess a voter ID card, that person will not be allowed to vote. Similarly, in theory, everybody is allowed, everybody can accept bhakti. They are all eligible to get bhakti. But in practicality, only those who have the voter ID card are allowed to vote. Similarly, in practicality, those who have some Shastriya Shraddha are eligible to possess bhakti. Okay, so this is one difference that we should try to understand. A faithful devotee is a truly eligible candidate for the loving service of the Lord, and according to one's faith, one is classified as a topmost devotee, an intermediate devotee, or an inferior devotee. Now, our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Jara dekhe tara kahe Krishna upadesh, Amar agya guru haya tara desh. Okay, one side he is saying that Shraddhavan Jan ho Bhakti Adhikari, but on the other side, Mahaprabhu himself is giving this instruction. Jara dekhe tara kahe Krishna updesh. Whomsoever you see, whomsoever you meet, just give Krishna updesh. Instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Shri Krishna as given in Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Amar Agya Guru. In this way, you will become a spiritual master. I want everyone to become a guru. Hana Tara Desh. And in this way, you should liberate everybody in this land. Now, where is the category of Shraddha? There is no category of Shraddha mentioned, because now he is saying that everybody should be allowed to, everybody should be, is eligible to hear the glories of the holy name. And whomsoever we meet, we should instruct that person on the orders of Lord Shri Krishna. We should instruct. Then why he is saying this? So this is because when a devotee instruct a person, okay, then yes, when we are doing Nam Sankirtan and everybody is hearing, then it is not an offense. But now, if one-to-one, how this offense is applied, if one-to-one I am instructing someone, okay, and I know that person and I tell him or her, I tell that individual to chant the holy name. But because that person doesn't have Shraddha, that person doesn't want to chant the holy name. Okay. Now he says, no, I will not chant. I'll make a second attempt that, okay, please, these are the glories. Try to chant the holy name. And I know that person is reluctant now. He is still not ready to chant. Third time, at least in both the times, he is listening. The person, the individual is listening. I'm telling that please try to chant, take these beads, even one round, even half a round, but say Krishna name, chant Krishna's name. But that person is faithless. He doesn't believe my words and he just walks. Second time again, I tried the same person, please go ahead. And that person is reluctant. Well, gives many excuses. I don't have time, or I don't have taste, or maybe a number of reasons. Now, third time if I approach, that person is ashranavati. Ashranavati means now this person is unwilling to listen, is trying to avoid me, is trying to move away from me. Then after this third attempt, if still I am trying to preach that person, it will be an aparadh. Okay. So we are in this offense, in this ashraddha dhane mukhe apish ashravati yacha upadesha shivanam aparadha. In this aparadh, the 3 times the consideration or the relaxation is given. First time you can approach, second time you can approach. When third time we approach, maximum third time to the same person, if that person is trying to avoid, then we should stop ourselves. We should literally stop ourselves, because then we will be also offenders. Also, we will be an instrument in that individual's spiritual loss. Because the more we instruct, the more that person will talk ill about Krishna or Krishna's holy name. And the more the other person talks about Krishna's holy name, the more one's spirituality goes down. Then he will not ever be able to uplift himself or herself. So therefore, here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur especially mentions that while instructing the person, we should be very careful. 3 times, yes. But after that, if we still try to instruct, then we will perish our spiritual things also. Also, we will perish the spirituality of the person who is an offender. So therefore, this is an aparadh, but this aparadh has some relaxation, and that relaxation is 3 times. Ashraddha dhane vimukhe. If a person doesn't have faith, still you can speak. If person is reluctant, giving excuses, still. But if we find anyone who is avoiding us, or who is unwilling to listen, or who is changing the topic because doesn't want us to come on to this topic, then we should shut our mouth and we should try to understand that now it will be a namaparad. So for our own benefit and for the benefit of the offender, we should try to stop, and we should not try to preach further. Okay. This is the 9th offense. Now comes the 10th offense. That is the last offense that we will cover. And what is the 10th offense? Shrutepi nama mahatmya yah priti rahito nara aham mamadi paramo namni so api apradhakrit. Shrutepi nama mahatmya. After understanding the Mahatmya means the glories of the holy name. Nama Mahatmya, Shrutepi, after hearing the glories of the holy name, Yah Priti Rahito Narha. Still, if somebody, if any nar, if any individual doesn't get Priti, doesn't get affection towards the holy name, and aham mamadi paramo, and is always in the conception of I, my, I am doing this, I am good, namni so api apradhakrit, that person should be considered as an offender towards the holy name. In English, what Prabhupada has given us, to maintain material attachment even after receiving so many instructions in this regard, considering the material body to be me and everything in relation to the body as mine. If we are still in this aham mameti, aham mamata is there, then yes, we are still the offenders because we have known the glories of the holy name. And even after knowing, if we are having that kind of attachment towards the material things, and if we are unable to give up our false ego of I and mine and still get absorbed into so-called sense enjoyment and disrespect the holy name, then we are aparadhi, then we are the offenders. Now here, someone can say, well, the attachment to the holy name just cannot be developed just by thinking or by its own desire. Okay, I heard this glories of the holy name, but that doesn't mean that just by hearing I'll get attachment. Yes, of course, that is true, that we do not get attachment immediately. And therefore, what should we do? We should always associate in the like-minded devotees, or at least in the advanced devotees. Actually advanced devotees, but if we don't have, then at least in the like-minded devotees we should associate, so that there is some attachment to the holy name. Because if we don't get the attachment to the holy name and we are attached to our material conceptions or material considerations, then it is an offense. Now, why it becomes an offense? Why somebody is still materially attached, even after knowing the glories? So in this regard also, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he explains that sometimes the holy name is forcibly imposed on somebody. So when the holy names are forcibly imposed on somebody, then that person will never get a taste for chanting. That person will always consider glories or chanting to be the punishment. For example, many parents, they want to correct their children. And while correcting their children, they say, okay, you have done this thing wrong. Now your punishment is that you will chant 1 round extra, or you will chant 2 rounds extra. So this way, what happens? They forcibly impose chanting on children. And then what happened when children grows up, then they understand that, oh, I used to chant, my parents used to make me chant forcibly. So they, in life, throughout their life, even after knowing the glories, they will consider the chanting to be a punishment. They will not consider chanting to be something very glorious, but they will consider it to be a punishment. So that thing should always and always be avoided. And therefore, if we do not avoid this, then it becomes we'll not understand the glories, and the attachment towards the material things will go on and on. And when the attachment is going towards aham mamadi, then definitely that will be an aparad. I'm seeing some chat message. Okay. So we have to be very careful. Now this ends our 10th offense also. So with this, we have covered all the offenses. But while giving the 10th offense, we are also one line is added. And what is that one line that is added in the 10th offense? Anybody wants to volunteer and say? When we say that 10th offense, yes, Vasundhara Mataji.
One needs to chant with attention. It should be attentive chanting.
Thank you, Mataji. So what is that? To maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. And then the line is, it is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Now, where that is coming? Is Prabhupada just writing on its own? It's whimsical that he is writing on its own? No, actually, this offense is embedded in one of our offense that we have covered. So remember, what is the 8th offense? 8th offense is Dharma vrata tyagi hutadi sarva shubha kriya samyam api pramadaha. And we have understood that pramada means that one who is mistakenly or misunderstanding the reality that the glories of the holy name is far more beyond the glories of all these processes. But our Sanatan Goswami also mentions that in this offense, 8th offense, is actually 2 offenses covered. The first is dharma vrata tyagi hutadi sarva shubha kriya samyam. That's it. Means that there is an equation. If somebody equates the glories of all these shubha kriyas to the glories of the holy name, that person is an offender. Api and pramadaha. Pramadaha also means inattentiveness. So 2 offenses are covered in this 8th offense. Pramada also means to misunderstand. Pramada also means to be inattentive. Okay, so from here, we are getting this line that it is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. So this is the 10th offense that is being mentioned, that it is also an 11th offense, which is actually 11th offense. But because in Hari Bhakti Vilas, it says Dashanam Aparadaha. So Sanatan Goswami is in his Tika, in his commentaries, mentioning that those Dashanam Aparada will be 10 offenses only towards the holy name. But this 11th offense can be embedded. And therefore, Prabhupada, in the translation, when he's giving those 10 offenses in English, then in the 10th offense, he's mentioning that it is also an offense to be inattentive, which is actually the source, which is actually the mother of all the above mentioned aparadhas. Why? Because if we are attentive while chanting, then what we are doing? Our mind is hearing, our tongue is repeating the names, and mind is hearing. So only these 2 things are happening. If mind is 100% engaged in the chanting mantras, in the words, like if I'm chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If I'm chanting, my ears are hearing and mind is writing those words, whether it's in English or Hindi. If the mind is writing every syllable, then the mind is busy in writing the syllable. But if I'm just chanting through my mouth and hearing through my ears and mind is nowhere involved, then the mind goes on thinking of all the aparadhas, about the Vaishnava aparadha, about the Vedas, about glories. Will it work for me or it will not work? The doubts will sprout in our mind, and that will lead to aparadha. So therefore, it is mentioned api pramadaha. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. So we should always try to be very, very attentive in our chanting. So this way, we have successfully covered all the 10 offenses. Now the question comes, okay, we have talked about the offenses. Is there any rectification? It is any solution to Namaparad? Of course, there is a solution. After describing these 10 offenses in Hari Bhakti Vilas, actually this conversation is going on between Sanat Kumar and Narad Muni. Sanat Kumar is one of the 4 Kumaras. So this is the conversation, a dialogue that is going on between Sanat Kumar and Narad Muni. Okay, so which is being recorded by Sanatan Goswami in Hari Bhakti Vilas. So he recorded that conversation. So after giving that 10 Namaparad, after mentioning that Dasha Namaparad, Sanat Kumar himself gives the solution. And what is the solution? Jate Namaparadhepi pramadena kathachana sada sankirtanay nama tada ekarshano bhavet. So what is that? Jate Namaparadhepi. If somebody does this Namaparad, pramadena. So what is the meaning of pramad? Inattentive or carelessness. By kathanchana, by some carelessness, by some inattentiveness, by some misunderstanding, if somebody has committed any namaparad, then what is the solution? Sada. Sada sankirtanay nama tada ekarshano bhavet. Taking sharan, taking shelter of whom? Ekoho. Only one personality. That is the holy name. Taking shelter of that Sankirtan, taking shelter of Sankirtan and doing Sankirtan not once, twice, Sada. And Sankirtan of what? Because Sankirtan, see, what is Kirtan? What is Kirtan? Kirtan is when we are, actually Rupa Goswami, he mentions Naam, Leela, Guna, Adi, Uchchir Bhasha to Kirtanam. When somebody is loudly chanting, what? Krishna's name, Krishna's Leela, pastimes, Krishna's qualities, Adi, etc. So all the limbs are covered. So right now when we are discussing this, so it is also a form of Kirtan. If somebody is giving Srimad Bhagavatam class, that is also a Kirtan. Kirtan is discussing or glorifying in a loud voice, Uchchari Bhasha, about Krishna's name, Krishna's Leela, and Krishna's Guna. Then that is Kirtan. So loud chanting of Krishna's holy name, pastimes, and qualities. That is Kirtan. But here saying which Kirtan? Naam. Means we have to focus on Naam Kirtan only. But it is only Kirtan? No. Here the solution is Sada Sankirtana Nama. So we have to perform always Sankirtan. Now what is Sankirtan? Sankirtan definition, what Rupa Goswami gives is Bahubhir Milit Kareti Sankirtan. Means when many people come together and chant, that is known as Sankirtan. So right now what we are doing is also Sankirtan. It may not be a Nama Sankirtan, but it is also a Sankirtan because we are glorifying Krishna. We are glorifying the attributes of Krishna. Right? So this is also a Sankirtan. When many people together come and do, that is Sankirtan. And what is Nam Sankirtan? When everybody come together and chant, that is Nam Sankirtan. So Kirtan is called Sankirtan when many people perform it together. But in this regard, our dear Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he used to write a diary. Many of you know, must be knowing, he used to write the magazine, which is known as the Harmonist. Okay, so in one of the volume in Harmonist, he mentions that yes, Kirtan is called Sankirtan when many people come together. But will it be worthy of the name Sankirtan if many people come together, but they don't have any love and any respect for Bhagavan's name, form, or attributes or service? If somebody doesn't have that, and still if they are coming, will it be called as Sankirtan? No. That's what Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says. If somebody is coming and shouting in unison Krishna's name or pastimes, but have no respect, have no adar and preeti, have no respect and love towards Krishna's name, and they are just coming and shouting in unison, that is not called Sankirtan. The true Hari Sankirtan is when the devotees join together, they chant in a loud voice, but they are themselves firmly established in the principles of love and adar and respect for Lord Bhagwan, having that love and preeti for Bhagwan. Only when they come together and they chant in unison and they chant in loudly, in Uchchaiswar, then that is known as Sankirtan. So this has to be very, very carefully understood, that just by sitting together with a group of people who have no taste for chanting, who have no taste for Krishna's holy name, who have no respect and love for the Supreme Lord, and if we are doing some chanting with them, then that will not be regarded as Sankirtan. So therefore, he also gives, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur also gives another definition. Sarvato bhavena kirtana is Sankirtan. Yes, bahubir militva karyati. When many people come together and chant, that is known as Sankirtan. But the point to understand is that bhav is important, that mood is very important. Sarvato bhavena kirtana is actually Sankirtan. That when we have the right mood in describing the glories of the holy name, whether it may be a singing, it may be a dancing, it may be performing some drama, or it may be giving some Bhagavatam class. But if it is given in the like-minded devotees who have some specific mood or at least some respect and love, then that is known as Sankirtan. So Sankirtan means Sang. Sang means also means complete. So Sankirtan means complete Kirtan. When everybody is in full knowledge of one's Sambandha and one is completely free from anarthas and aparadhas, then that is known as Sankirtan. So the point here is, it's mentioned that if we want a solution to Namaparad, then the only solution is to take shelter of Sankirtan in the association of advanced devotees who have known their Sambandha. And then also the word mentioned is Sada. Sada Sankirtana Nama Tadaikarshano Bhave. That is the only solution. If due to carelessness or any other reason one commits an offense at the lotus feet of the holy name, one must take complete shelter of the holy name and continue chanting without cessation. The immediate verse in Hari Bhakti Vilas also says, Nam aparadhya yuktanam namani eva harantyagam avishranta pyuktani tani evar thakarani cha. The holy name alone can destroy the offenses one commits at the lotus feet of the holy name. The holy name alone can destroy. Holy name is very, very merciful. If one continues to chant the holy names of the Lord, then by the mercy of the holy name only, he may become freed from the offenses and ultimately achieves life's ultimate goal. So that means if I'm chanting, then and I'm chanting with offenses, then I should continue chanting, and that will lead to another offenses. That's not right. That's the wrong understanding. Okay. So when we are chanting and we know that we are chanting offensively, because how do we know? Because those symptoms are not coming. Even after chanting for many, many years, if I'm not getting the symptoms of love or respect towards holy name, then that means there is some fault. There is some fault. I am committing some aparadh. Because aparadh is actually the main source that brings some impediment in our path of bhakti. So if I am experiencing them, that after so many years of chanting also, if I'm not getting the result, then the fault is not in the chanting, the fault is in me because I'm not chanting properly, or I'm chanting with offenses. And the moment we understand this, that I'm chanting with offenses, then I should try to rectify it. And the only way to rectify is to come in the association of advanced devotees and take shelter of Nam. Holy name alone can help us to get rid of aparadhas. It's not, but now this time when we are taking shelter in the mood of repentance, in the mood of regression, in the mood of not to repeat those offenses, in the mood of always remembering that I had committed offenses in past. So now let me be more attentive, more careful, and not commit any offense. Then the holy name will help us. Okay. So this is what the solution is, and this is what the 10 offenses are. But now, what was the 4 types of anarthas that we discussed? So we have already discussed about dushkrita anarthas. We have already discussed about sukrita anarthas and apradhata anarthas that we have already discussed. But in the previous slide, the 4th type of anartha was also mentioned, and that was bhakti uttha, which we will describe now. What is bhakti uttha anartha? So bhakti uttha anartha is any anartha that is arising because of our bhakti. Okay, so when we perform bhakti or any kind of devotional service, then while doing our devotional service, we do get some respect, we do get some fame, we may get some other comforts from the devotees which naturally flow in. All these name, fame, respect, comforts that is coming along with bhakti are actually the obstacles on the path of bhakti. And that is what is known as bhakti uttha anartha. Anartha arising from bhakti. So if somehow we understand that, oh, I'm getting name, I'm getting fame, I'm getting respect, I'm getting some comfort, then I should not be ever influenced by all these things, because we have to understand that ultimately all these things are material. Today, somebody is offering some respect to me. Tomorrow, some circumstances can arise where the same person will become inimical towards me and will forget about respecting, will rather blaspheme me. So why to get attached to so-called respect and fame and comfort? These are all the anarthas which arise, which will definitely arise on the path of bhakti. Because Maya Devi wants to test us. Okay, so these things will come even on the path of bhakti. These fame, name will come. And now it's up to us how much we welcome them. The more we welcome them, the more we are bringing some stumbling blocks on our path of bhakti, impediments on the path of bhakti. And the more we reject them, the more we are clearing our path. In this regard, our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he quotes this. This is a beautiful verses, because this anartha is considered to be the weed growing along with our devotional plant. So you all must be knowing that when the weed grows, it looks exactly like the original plant, exactly like. But we have to make it sure whether it's a weed or it's a original plant. So our Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu says, Kintu yadi latara sange uthe upashakha bhukti mukti vanchayata sankhya tara lekha. So what he says, kintu yadi latara sange, if somehow our along with our bhakti lata, if some sange uthe upashakha, if some upashakha or some other creeper also comes in, and that creeper may be of bhukti, mukti, vancha. It can be of material desire, enjoyment, or it can be liberation from the material world. They all grow along with this devotional tree. And asankhya shakha, along with my creeper, asankhya other weeds also grows up, and they are unlimited in number. And then he says, Nishidhachara kuti nati jiva himsana labha puja pratishtha adi yata upashakha gana. What is this asankhya upashakha? These are nishid achar. Nishid achar means unwanted behavior, what we do. Sometimes we do nishidachar. Nishidachar means that achar, which is that behavior which is not allowed in the Shastras. If somehow we are exhibiting that behavior, then that means we should try to understand that there is some weed growing along with our bhakti creeper. Kutinati. Kutinati means diplomacy. If we are being diplomatic in dealing with the devotees. Jiva himsana. If we are unnecessarily trying to harm others. Harm others means not only killing animals, but also harming others. Harming others is also comes under the category of Jiva Himsa. And Labha Puja Pratishtha. So those are Nishad things, but this is when we are so much influenced with Labh. Oh, wow, I'm getting some profit, some material calculations are coming. I'm giving so many classes, and every class I'm charging and money is flowing. And then puja, if somebody is glorifying me. No, pratishtha, if I'm getting some adoration or I'm getting some name, some fame, and I am getting attached, then we should understand that some weed is growing along with my devotional tree. So three things we have to understand. Three things we have to understand. First of all, when these creepers grow, we have to understand that either my behavior is not proper, or whether I'm being diplomatic, or I'm trying to harm other devotees. If these things are there, better understand that some weed is growing. In the positive sense, if some labh is coming, some puja, some pratishtha, then also we should understand that some weed is growing along with it. Sheka jala pasha up shakha badi jaya stabda hasa mula shakhe badati nyapaya. Then what happened? Sheka jala. Sheka jala means you are sprinkling some water. You are giving water to your devotional creeper by chanting, by hearing. But then what happened? Because the water is sprinkled on the weeds also, so the weed is also growing up. Upashakha badi jai, and that weed is growing. Now the weed is growing tremendously, and our real plant, the devotional tree, is not growing as per our desire, because the weeds are growing more. Staptahaya mula shakhe badatina paya. So the weeds when grow, then what happened? Entire nourishment goes towards the weeds. And then the main plant, the original, the principal plant stop growing. So therefore he's saying, Sheka jala paya, upashakha badi jai, stabta haya mula shakha badati na jai. Jab weeds grow karti hai, when the weeds start growing exponentially, then our principal creeper doesn't grow at all. The nourishment is not proper for the bhakti creeper, and therefore the bhakti creeper's growth gets curtailed. Then what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying? Prathamai upashakara karaya chedana tabha mula shakhi bade jai vrindavana. So then, therefore, he says, then what is the duty of a sadhaka? Prathamai upashakha. As soon as the devotee or the sadhaka realizes that my upashakha or my weeds are growing, then karaye chedana, uproot it. Uproot it. Don't cut the weeds, just uproot it from its roots. Then the entire nourishment will be towards the principal creeper. And then Moola Shakha Badi, and that principal creeper will grow and Jai Vrindavan, and it go to Krishna's lotus feet in Vrindavan. Very beautiful. Sometimes unlimited, unwanted weeds, along with our bhakti creeper, as innumerable desires for material enjoyment, liberation, performance of act, forbidden in shastras, deceit, duplicity, fault finding, violence towards other living beings, material gain, respect, fame, and so on. So when the weeds are sprinkled along with the creeper, they may grow along with the creeper and will suffocate the roots of the creeper. So first, these weeds must be uprooted, must be rooted out so that the original stem can grow up to reach to Vrindavan. So this bhakti also brings anarthas. And we have to be very, very careful that we have to avoid all this. All the nishedh things also we have to avoid, and all the so-called positive looking things should also be avoided. We should be very, very careful. Now, in a very detailed fashion, we have discussed about anarthas. But the original thing was anartha nivritti. We have to get rid of anarthas. What about that? Suppose, because the fourth stage, ado shraddha tata sadhu sangha bhajana kriya anartha nivritti. Ultimately, we have to get rid of those anarthas. But right now, we have discussed only what are those anarthas. Whether they are dushkrita, whether they are sukrita, whether it is aparadha, or whether it is bhaktiyuta. So there are different anarthas we have discussed in detail, but now we have to uproot those anarthas. And that nivritti, how does it happen? Just does it happen in a flick of a second that today, okay, I know and it will happen? No. Madhurya Kadambini, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes that anartha nivritti doesn't happen in a day, doesn't happen at a stage. It goes on and on and on. Okay, that means after anartha nivritti, so we started with Shraddha, then we came to Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, anartha nivritti, then comes Nishtha, then comes Ruchi, then comes Asakti, then comes Bhava, and then comes Prema. So means this anartha nivritti is such that doesn't mean that if I've crossed this anartha nivritti and reached to the level of nishtha, or reached to the level of ruchi, or reached to the level of asakti or bhava, these anarthas will not come. Anartha nivritti is that stage which happens also till the stage of bhava and prema. So anartha nivritti goes on and on because anarthas can come at any stage. As we have already experienced, this bhakti yutta anartha can come when somebody is on the bhava level. So therefore, it's been mentioned by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that there are different stages of anartha nivritti. What are those stages? First is Ekadesha Vartini, means there is a partial clearance of anarthas, and that is means it is 15%. We'll discuss this. Next is Bahudesha Vartini, means the extensive eradication of anarthas happens, which is 75%. Third is Prayiki, the almost complete clearance of all anarthas, with only a little remaining. So that means our anarthas are eradicated up to 95%. Fourth is Purna, the complete eradication of anarthas, means nothing is remaining, 100%. So that means we are done? No. The fifth is Atyantiki, means the absolute annihilation of anarthas, sees no possibility of anarthas regenerating again. So in this Purna, where there is a complete eradication of anarthas, there is a tendency that anarthas may regenerate. But in Atyantiki, in the last type of anartha, which is the absolute annihilation of anarthas, there is no possibility that anartha will regenerate again. Okay. In the previous stage, Purna Nivritti anarthas are destroyed, but there is a possibility that they may regenerate for some reason. So this is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes, that this anartha doesn't go in a flick of a second. It goes in stages. He gives a logic of the village burned and the cloth is torn. So when the village is burned, so that means when the village starts burning, okay, one house get burned, two houses burned, but that doesn't mean that the entire village is burned. You can stop the burning at 1 or 2 or 5 or 6 houses or huts, right? So similarly, when the cloth is torn, it's not immediately the cloth is torn and it's made into 2 pieces. It starts from some point and then it gradually grows and finally the cloth turns. So sometimes these anarthas reappear or appear even after their complete annihilation. And of course, it goes step by step. Now, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given a detailed explanation that how does it happen. So that detailed explanation we cannot go, but we'll try to understand with the chart. Okay. So this is the chart. This is the sequence in which anarthas are eradicated. So this is the graph. Try to understand this graph. So these are partial ekodeshavartini, bahudeshavartini, prayatki. This prayaki means almost complete, purna, complete, and atyantiki, that is absolute. Now, when we are in the process of bhajana kriya, then Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that if somebody is in the process of bhajan kriya, then those anarthas, which are because of dushkrita and sukrita, and those anarthas which are because of bhakti, they get completed. Partial annihilation happens of those anarthas in the process of bhajana kriya. But those anarthas which are arising because of okay, see, I'm sorry, let me repeat. In the stage of bhajan kriya, anarthas that are arising because of dushkrit and sukrit, they are almost eradicated. Almost, not 100%, but almost eradicated. And almost complete, we have seen in the previous slide, is 95%. So 95% of our anarthas that have arisen because of some dushkrita or sukrita, they are eradicated in the process of bhajan kriya only, when anartha nivritti has not even started. Okay. Now, this comes the other bhakti, anartha arising because of bhakti and anartha arising because of some aparad. They are only partially eradicated in the process of bhajan kriya. They are partially eradicated. That means around 15%. Now, if somebody crossing this anartha nivritti stage come on to the level of nishtha, then he says that any anartha that has arisen because of some dushkrita or sukrita, they get eradicated in a complete form, means 100% they are eradicated. Whether it may be dushkrita anarthas or sukrita anarthas, or even from the practice of bhakti, it's all get eradicated on the stage of nishtha. But then what is left? When aparadha anarthas happen, then they are eradicated up to 50%. Or you can say Bahudeshavartini goes to 75%, means 75% they are eradicated, not 100%. That means aparadha is still there. If somebody is on the stage of ruchi, then the eradication of anarthas because of dushkrita and sukrita, it is complete. It is 100%. Bhakti uttha anartha is absolute, means there is, when somebody is on the platform of ruchi, then that person doesn't get affected by fame, by adoration, by name. That is 100% eradicated, and that kind of anartha will never reappear again if somebody is on the path of ruchi. But then still there are some problems, and that problems can be because of aparadh. If some aparadh has been committed, whether it may be a Vaishnava aparadh or aparadh towards the holy name, if somebody is on ruchi, and that will not be destroyed 100%, it can be destroyed up to 75%. Same is the case of asakti. Somebody is on the stage of asakti, then dushkrita anarthas, sukrita anarthas, bhakti anarthas all get 100% destroyed, of not a chance of regeneration also. Okay, there is no chance of regeneration. But what is the stumbling block is the aparadha anarthas. When somebody is on the bhava stage, then of course no other anarthas will have impact, and even the offenses that may arise due to aparadh will also be gone, almost gone, 95% in the case of bhava. But in the case of prema, then what happens? All the anarthas will have no impact. Only the aparadha anarthas, they will be eradicated completely, 100%. But at the level of prema, there may be a chance of regeneration of this aparadhota anarthas, even on the level of prema. And finally, when somebody attains Bhagavan's association, yat gatvana nivartante tad dhama paramam. If somebody attains that Bhagavan situation, then all these anarthas that have been arise due to dushkrita, sukrita, bhakti or aparadha holds no value. The slate is clean. Okay, we get a clean slate because no anartha can impact us. So we are already 12:09. I'll take 15-20 minutes extra because I want to finish, because this is in continuation. If I give a gap here, then it will be very hard to explain in the next session. So please bear with me. Okay, I'm not taking your permission this time because I'm really eager to complete this because it is in the continuation. Okay? Please excuse me for that. Those who want to leave, please, and you have some engagements, you are more than welcome to leave. And if you want, you can catch up with the recordings. But if you can stay back, that will be really helpful. Now the further doubts come. Okay, how the gradual cessation of anarthas applies to a faithful devotees who are chanting the holy names offenselessly and have been initiated by a bona fide spiritual master according to the scriptural rites. So these are the further doubts that have been asked by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that what happens to those who are doing their offenseless chanting and they are doing everything and they have been initiated also. So what is, how for them also this anarthas goes in a partial way? For them also it is Ekadeshi and Bahudesha and then Pratiki and then Puna and then Atyanki. Though they are offenseless, then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that no. For them, those who are offenseless, for them there is no delay for attaining the Vaikuntha planet. There is no delay at all. For them, the stages also doesn't hold any importance. The stages from Shraddha to Prema. For them, there is only two stages. First is Nam Grahan. They immediately accept the holy name. And second is Vaikuntha Arohan. And that means they immediately go to the Vaikuntha planet. They go to the Supreme Lord's abode immediately. They have only two things. But he wants us. He says that those souls are very rare in this world. Generally, everyone is embodied because of the result of past deeds. So offenses therefore exist in everyone, whether we have committed recently or maybe previously in some previous life. So we have to be this stage that somebody is very, very offenseless. For them, yes, there is no gradation that you have to start from Shraddha and go to Prema. For them, it's only two, Nam Grahan and Vaikuntha Arohan. Means you accept the holy name and then you immediately land up in the Vaikuntha planet. So that's the first doubt that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur clears up. Now the second doubt comes in. When the holy name is dissatisfied with an offender, if we commit Nam Aprad, and if Nam is not merciful on us, is there any hope? Is there any hope for us? Then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, yes, actually the mercy of the holy name is the one that can destroy all the anarthas. In this regard, he quotes a very beautiful analogy. And that analogy, he says, now suppose there is a most wealthy master, and he has a servant, and that servant has offended that master. So we know that servant is 100% maintained by that master. And because the master is wealthy, servant doesn't suffer any kind of problems or any kind of sufferings, because the master is very wealthy and master takes care of that servant. But if somehow that servant commits an offense against that master and the master becomes displeased, then what happens? The master ignores that servant. Now, when he ignores that servant, does not mean that he does not take care of that servant. He still has that potential to take care of that servant, but that servant has caused some dissatisfaction towards that master. Therefore, the master is not throwing his entire mercy. He's holding on to it. But holding on to the mercy doesn't mean that he is not capable of giving the mercy. He is still capable of giving the mercy, but because he has become dissatisfied with that particular servant, he is holding on to it. He is not giving him the entire comforts that he used to give. Similarly, this powerful holy name always maintains the devotees. But if some devotee commits any aparadh towards the holy name is still eligible to give all kind of destination, all kind of mercy towards that devotee. But the holy name restricts it to teach the offender his or her lesson. Just like the wealthy master doesn't shows his mercy towards that servant. But if that servant realizes that I have dissatisfied my wealthy master, and he takes a promise to repent on his mistake, not to repeat his mistake, to always remember his mistake. If that master takes up this vow and serves his master, if that servant takes up his vow and serve his master again and again, then the day is not far when the master will be pleased by his service and will start giving all mercy. Similarly, this holy name withdraws all his mercy from a sadhaka if the sadhaka dissatisfies or commit any aparadh towards that holy name. But that doesn't mean that that's the end of the life. That means the holy name offender should now, it's the time for that offender to regret, to repent, and tad eka sharano bhave, and should again take shelter of holy name only. And then the holy name will be very, very merciful, because the mercy of the holy name is such that it can destroy all the anarthas. So we should not be heartbroken that, okay, I have committed, now what? Is there any hope? Yes, there is a hope, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says. Third doubt, if I'm offenseless, then why I'm not getting the fruits of prema? Why the 8 ecstatic symptoms, the sign of prema, the Ashta Satvika Vikar do not arise if I'm offenseless? So first of all, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that if somebody is chanting, he quotes from Srimad Bhagavatam only, this is the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, that if someone chants the holy name of the Supreme Lord many times, many years, then one should get some Ashtasatvika Vikar. Means the tears should come from the eyes, hair should stand on end. And if that is not happening, then one should understand that one's heart is hard-hearted, is just like an iron. Okay. So now this doubt is increasing. Oh, I've been chanting for so many years, but all these Ashtasatvika Vikar are not coming. Then how to understand this? Then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur first of all says, he gives 2 understandings to it. The first understanding, he says that suppose if we are not getting, the easiest way to understand is that if we are not getting this Ashtasatvika Vikar, but we know that we are offenseless and we are chanting without any aparadh, and no aparadh, whatever, dushkrito, sukrito, nama or bhakti, we have no aparadh, then we are not getting any symptom. Still, we are not getting any symptom. That doesn't mean that some aparadh is still there. That's not a universal rule. He gives the example that the fruit tree gives fruits only in a particular season. So similarly, though the holy name is pleased with the people who are chanting, those who are offenselessly chanting, holy name is very pleased, but that doesn't mean the holy name will give the results immediately. The fruit tree will give fruit in a proper season. Similarly, these symptoms in the sadhaka will arise in a proper time. They are not arising externally, but they will arise, but in a proper time. That's the first understanding. So don't get disheartened. This is a very, very rare case. Second case that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes is that, yes, we don't get prema, we don't get Ashtasatvika Vikar. While chanting the holy name, we should understand that there is some aparadh. Some aparadh is there which is obstructing us to receive the fruits of this prema in spite of constant chanting. Some aparadh is there, but he also warns us. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also warns us that, however, if somebody is getting these Ashtasatvika Vikar, presence of tears and goosebumps, that cannot be regarded as mere presence of them, cannot be regarded that somebody's heart is melting because of the holy name. Try to understand. If we are not getting the Ashtasatvika Vikar, the very first thing is we have to understand that some aparadh has happened and let's work on it. Okay. Another thing Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, if we are 100% sure that we have not committed any aparadh, then we should wait patiently because the fruits of prema will come in a proper time, just like the fruit tree will give fruits in a proper season. Third thing to understand is that if we are not getting those symptoms and somebody else is getting symptoms, somebody easily gets tears in their eyes and get goosebumps or their hair stands on end, it's not necessarily a sign of a molten heart. Sometimes that person can be by nature be very, very sentimental. And therefore, they can practice producing these goosebumps and tears. So such persons, we should understand they have not even have a shadow of that namabhas. They're not a sattva bhas is there, not a glimpse of ecstatic emotion is there. Because Whatever they are showing is external. But why we are not getting is, here the point is that we have to introspect ourselves. Why I am not getting is that I have committed some aparadha. So therefore, he says, the real sattvika vikar, the real ecstatic symptom is not just having some tears in eyes or having some hair standing on end. That's not the ultimate. The special symptom by which we can determine that there is a transformation of heart, then that is when we come to the stage of Shantir avyartha kalatvam viraktir man shunyata asha banda samutkantha nam gane sadaruchi. When we come to the right understanding of forgiving others, remaining tolerant, always be patient, and not wasting our time, avyartha kalatvam, utilizing all our time in the service of Krishna, virakti, having detachment, manashunyata, not even having an iota of false prestige or demanding respect from others. We are totally pridelessness. And we have a hope, Asha Bandha, which is very important. We have a hope that Krishna will one day bestow mercy on me. And Samat Kuntha. And we have the desire and eagerness to achieve Krishna Prem. Nam Gane Sada Ruchi. And we have taste in chanting the holy name. Asakti Tatha Gunakhyane. And then we get natural attachment towards the sweet qualities of the Supreme Lord. Priti Stat Vasati Sthale. And we have a desire in taking the residence of Krishna's holy name. Then he says, yes, these symptoms actually bring transformations in the heart. And then slowly and gradually, all these Ashtasattvika vikar will manifest, but in their own sweet time. But real transformation happens when we develop all these different qualities. So that's how the third doubt is cleared. And finally, the fourth, which will be the end of this chapter as well as the end of the discussion today, that the effects of offenses are so terrifying that one may wonder that if the offender becomes inimical towards the Lord and cease to take shelter of Sri Guru and engage in bhajan. After reading that Nama Paradas and the effects of those Nama Paradas, some may come to this conclusion: why do I have to chant if there are so many problems associated with it? Then somebody can lose taste in chanting. Instead of picking their bead bags, now they will be afraid in picking their bead bags. They will be reluctant in chanting. And then forget about chanting, they will also not take shelter of their spiritual master and follow his instructions, whose instructions are to chant. So the results are so terrifying that it will bring the offender inimical towards the Lord. They will not be able to be favorable towards the Lord. And then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a very beautiful analogy again, that no, that won't happen. The result or the solution is, if you want to get rid of anarthas, if you want to get rid of aparadhas, then you have to take more shelter of Krishna's holy name. Just like he gives the example that just like one is unable to eat some heavy food if somebody is affected with high fever. If somebody have high fever, then he will not be able to digest some oily foods or fatty foods or some rice or etc. Similarly, the offender, if some offense happens, then we may not be engaged into hearing the chanting of Krishna's holy name, because the name will not show us mercy and we will lose taste in it. But if we take the shelter of sadhu and take proper medicine, if we take the shelter of a doctor in the high fever, and with the proper do's and don'ts, if we follow the entire prescription, then the day is not far when the fever will reduce, and slowly and gradually I will be able to eat my normal food. That day is not far. But then what is needed? I have to go to the doctor and follow the prescribed medications, the do's as well as don'ts. Similarly, if somebody has been an offender and has lost taste in the holy name, then the only shelter is to go to one's spiritual master, to go one's Shiksha Guru or Diksha Guru, again take shelter of the devotees only who will guide us in developing back our taste in chanting. And then the process will be slow. Slowly and gradually, again, we will start getting taste in the chanting. Why? Because chanting itself, the holy name itself, will bestow mercy and will help us to get eagerness in chanting the holy name. Right? So this is the point that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes. So with that, we end. This is the end of our discussion today. I took 27 minutes extra, but this also ends our third shower, that is the impediments that arise in bhakti. So anartha nivritti, we have covered that. That also ends our third shower. So thank you all so much. I'm seeing Parima Mataji's hand already raised. Yes, Parima Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for this really profound lecture. Mataji, I missed out on this point. If bhakti is supremely independent, but the prerequisite is that you should have Shraddha, then you were explaining that, why it is not yet, why is it still independent? I couldn't get that point, Mataji.
So why? Yes, Mataji. So yes, bhakti is independent. But as we have discussed in our first Vrishti, in our first shower, where we're discussing the preeminence of bhakti, we were discussing. At that time also, we have discussed the same thing, that though bhakti is independent, but that seed of bhakti will grow only in a fertile heart. Okay, the seed will grow only in a fertile land. Therefore, the seed of bhakti will be sown only in that fertile land. And what is the fertility of the heart? The fertility of the heart is to have Shraddha in the Shastras. Therefore, right in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says, before you start reading Bhagavad Gita, theoretically have this Shraddha. Theoretically accept that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then start reading Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so this is important. The seed may be sown. Bhakti can manifest in anybody's heart. She is supremely independent. But that bhakti seed will need some fertile land to grow. And that fertility of the land, that fertility of the heart in which the seed is sown, is the faith scriptures, is the Shraddha. And then when we water it, give sunlight, that is hearing and chanting, and fencing around is the association. Then it goes.
So Mataji, can we put it that way, that bhakti is dependent on Shraddha?
That is wrong. That is totally wrong. The seed can be sown even in the heart of a Shraddha person, who is not Shraddhavan. The seed can be sown, but sowing of seed doesn't mean that
it will grow.
It will sprout. To need sprouting, we need that Shraddha and hearing and chanting.
Got it, Mataji. And there's one more thing, like I just got this doubt that if a person is offenseless and he gets the holy name and he's straight, he is liberated, he goes to Vaikuntha. Mataji, if that person is offenseless, means offenseless in this lifetime or offenseless in all the lifetimes?
All the lifetimes means he doesn't have a dushkrita anartha, sukriti anarthas. Unka koi karma hi nahi hai. All are akarmas, and they are special associates of the Supreme Lord who come for a specific purpose, for a specific reason, to carry out the Supreme Lord orders, and they come and they live in this world, face the problems of this world, but internally they have only Nam Grahan and then Vaikuntha Arohan. Like,
Okay, so their birth is not similar to our birth. Like, we take birth because of our karmas, but their birth is not because of their karmas.
they come for
Okay.
a specific reason.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was thinking if they are so offenseless, why did they even come? That would have been my next question. But okay, thank
With us.
yeah, okay. Okay, Mataji, thank you so much. This is a really profound subject and kind of, it needs complete concentration. So thank you so much, Mataji. You are doing us a great favor. So Dandavat pranams to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Neetu Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Mataji, my question is, if I go to the temple and I didn't say anything to any devotee, but it's something in my head, in my mind, but I didn't say. But if that is a namapra, because
No.
it's come in my head.
Unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, no. If we have something in our mind and we don't say it, or we don't show it, or we don't exhibit it through our actions, it doesn't become an aparadh. But we have been warned by our acharyas only that once that thought comes in our mind, uproot it there and then, because that thought may yield to an extent where that thought can come and show us in the actions. It can reap into our actions. So therefore, if the thought comes, immediately try to rectify it. Immediately try to uproot that thought. Because today or tomorrow it may show it in our actions also.
Okay, how do we rectify more japa?
How to get that thought removed? Okay, if it is among peers, if it's like-minded devotees and you have a very special relationship with those devotees, and if some thought comes against that devotee, talk to them, clarify it, and finish it off. If it is for some senior devotees where we don't have an adhikar even to talk to, then try to see some good qualities in them. Count their good qualities more so that your mind is filled that, okay, I'm seeing some fault, but that person, give them the benefit of doubt. See their good qualities and remember that verse, api chet suduracharo bhajante mam ananya bhag. If those who worship me, they are still worshiping, they are still engaged in services, but if they have committed something which my mind is saying, then okay, I will still consider them the sadhu and let Krishna handle. Let that equation be between that senior devotee and Krishna, better not intervene. But if something is happening with our peers or our juniors, try to immediately rectify by talking to them and clarifying it there and then, before our thought may reap into any kind of action.
Thank you, Mataji. And I also thank you, all the Bhakti Sangha teachers, because whatever I learned about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all in the Bhakti Sangha. And one thing I need all of your blessing, because I'm start taking the disciple course next week. And I want all of your blessing that I will pass that and get initiated soon.
Not only you, Mataji, let's pray for each one of us together in unison, that we may all get benefit by this Madhurya Kadambini and try to imbibe everything in our life also, so that we may also reach up to Krishna Loka, or Goloka, together and serve Krishna together. So
thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Beautiful class, Mataji.
Dandavat pranams. Okay, anything else? Okay, Shivani Mataji is not there. We need.
Kirtida, just give me, yeah, I'm here. I need to ask some questions, but I'll do that offline because I'm on another call. And if we have time, I can end the call. Okay?
Yeah, no worries, no worries. So, yeah, yes, Neetu Mataji, you want to say something?
Yeah, tell me.
Neetu Mataji, you want to say something? No.
No, Mataji. No, Mataji. Thank you, Hari Krishna.
Who else has any questions, anything? Yes, Karpavagalli Mataji, please.
Okay, fine. Let's do it.
Yes.
Thank you, Mataji. Mataji. It was wonderful, Mataji, to hear all the offenses, Mataji. Then just please explain me the eighth offense, Mataji, the putative activities, no?
Okay.
Eighth
That-
offense, I cannot.
okay. See, if we are performing any dharmic activity, suppose or any charity or any vrata, if we are doing, suppose I'll give you an example. I was supposed to offer oblations to my forefathers during Pitra Paksh. Okay, in Pitra Paksh, we normally offers oblations to our forefathers. Now, one Pitra Paksh, it happens that I forgot or I didn't offer it. Now I'm thinking, oh, I forgot to offer oblations to my forefathers. Let me chant and nullify it. It's an offense. It's an offense, right? Whatever duties we have, let's do it. And don't equate with the chanting. The chanting will not help the forefathers, it will go beyond. But considering that the result of oblations, the forefathers, and if I do it by chanting, it's an aparadh. Chanting is way beyond. It can take care of any of our dharma, vrata, or vows that we may have. But other religious activities, they have some results associated with it. So don't equate the results of those activities by the results of chanting. You got it, Mataji?
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. To clear my doubt. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji. I'm ready to ask. Can I ask?
I think so. It's already if you can do it on offline or you want to do it now. Up to you. I'm okay.
Okay, I'll do it quickly then. Let's finish it off. Okay. So 3 things. The first is going to be fast, Mataji. I won't take much time. First of all, the Shiva Namaparad, right? Sanatana Goswami's interpretation or his commentary says that all these 10 offenses that we are applying to Nam, Hari Nam basically, is also applicable to the name of Lord Shiva. Is that the understanding?
Yes.
Okay, that was one clarification. Then, yeah, so the solution offered to offenses in chanting the holy names is to tell me if I understood this right, is to first of all participate in Nam Sankirtan and hear from exalted Vaishnavas, the Nam from exalted Vaishnavas, and then you would continue to chant. That's correct?
Yes. First associate and do Nam Sankirtan in the exalted Vaishnavas, not those who are still have no faith in chanting, but those who have a very rigorous faith or firm faith in chanting, when we associate with them and do Nam Sankirtan with them, that helps. And then keep on chanting also.
And one thing I liked was what you were telling, that sometimes it is easy to exhibit symptoms and get confused thinking that it's coming because of the chanting of the holy name. But 90% of the time, it could just be a chant that that person is by nature emotional.
Yes, so we have to be very, very careful. That's why Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the real transformation is when somebody has that qualities that we mentioned.
All the qualities that you mentioned, once when we have all those qualities, then when the right time comes, like the fruit in a particular season, that is when it actually shows up. So will it ever show up for anybody? I mean, people like us. We don't know. And when you were talking about the people who are at that stage, they are directly, and you said that there are only 2 things, Nam Grahan and going to Vaikunta. Then what about us? We have to just keep working on the anarthas, clearing, and then take the same path, or?
He's just saying that if somebody really claims that I'm offenseless, I have no dushkrita, anartha, sukrita, anarthas, or I have not committed any aparadh, I have not committed any aparadh through bhakti. If somebody really claims that, then yes, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that for them, this entire process of Shraddha to Prema doesn't apply. For them, it is just Nam Grahan and Vaikuntha, means they accept the holy name and they just go back. But he cautions us that those souls are very rare, 1 in millions.
So when we read the story of Gopkumar, it appears that he just did Namagrahan and he went back to Godhead.
Last time when he came from Vaikuntha. And
So
he
it's one such exam.
Yeah.
Okay, Mataji, that's all.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, it's already 12:42. Thank you all so much for your patient listening and your patiently participating. Thank you, each and every one of you. So we'll stop here. Vanchakalpatarubhishta kripa sindhu bhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnave.
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Vaishnav Vrind ki jai, Srila Harinatha jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Prabhupada ki jai.
Always Kirtida Sundari Mataji ki jai.
Yeah. Radhe,
Yeah.
Radhe.
So next
Radhe.
time, continue with our fourth shower of Madhurya Kadambini. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you.
everybody. Ending the call here.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Kalyani Mata.